No, oh yes, I suppose I am. The other had become more excited, but he did not lose his wariness. Don't you want to be rescued? No, why no, I don't know, replied Jimmy dubiously. Willie Dalzell was indignant. Why, of course you want to be rescued. We'll rescue you. I'll go and get my men. And thinking this a good sentence, he repeated pompously, I'll go and get my men. In began to crawl away, but when he was distant some 10 paces, he turned to say, Keep up a stout heart. Remember that you have friends who will be faithful until death. The time is not now far off when we'll again view the blessed sunset light. The poetry of these remarks filled Jimmy with ecstasy, and he watched eagerly for the coming of his friends who would be faithful unto death. They delayed some time for the reason that Willie Dalzell was making a speech. Now, men, he said, our comrade is a prisoner in yond. In that there in fortress we must rescue. Who volunteers to go with me? He fixed them with a stern eye. There was a silence. Then one of the smaller boys remarked, If Doc Trescott catches us tracking over his lawn. Willie Dalzell pounced upon the speaker and took him by the throat. The two presented a sort of burlesque of the woodcut on the cover of a dime novel, which Willie had just been reading, The Red Captain, a tale of the pirates of Spanish Main. You are a coward, said Willie, through his clenched teeth. No, I ain't, Willie, piped the other as best he could. I say you are, cried the great chieftain indignantly. Don't tell me I'm a liar. He relinquished his hold upon the coward and resumed his speech. You know me, men. Many of you have been followers for long years. You saw slay 6-handed Dick with my own hand. You know I never falter. Our comrade is a prisoner in the cruel hands of our enemies. Ah, Pete Washington, he doesn't. My pa says if Pete ever troubles me, he'll brain him. Come on, to the rescue. Who will go with me to the rescue? Ah, come on, what are you afraid of? It was another instance of the power of eloquence upon the human mind. There was only one boy who was not thrilled by his oration, and he was a boy whose favourite reading had been of the road agents and gunfighters of the Great West, and he thought the whole thing should be conducted in the Deadwood Dick manner. This talk of a comrade was silly. Pard was the proper word. He resolved that he would make a show of being a pirate, and keep secret the fact that he really was Hold Up Harry, the terror of the Sierras. But the others were knit close in piratical bonds. One by one they climbed the fence at a point hidden from the house by tall shrubs. With many a low-breathed caution, they went upon their perilous adventure. Jimmy was grown tired of waiting for his friends, who would be faithful unto death. Finally he decided that he would rescue himself. It would be a gross breach of rule, but he couldn't sit there all the rest of the day waiting for his faithful unto death friends. The window was only 5 feet from the ground. He softly raised the sash and threw one leg over the sill, but at the same time he perceived his friend snaking among the bushes. He withdrew his leg and waited, seeing that he was now to be rescued in an orthodox way. The brave pirates came nearer and nearer. Jimmy heard a noise of a closing door, and turning, he saw his father in the room, looking at him in the open window in angry surprise. Boys never faint, but Jimmy probably came as near to it as may the average boy. "What's all this?" asked the doctor. Staring involuntarily, Jimmy glanced over his shoulder through the window. His father saw the creeping figures. "What are those boys doing?" he said sharply, and he knit his brows. "Nothing." "Nothing? Don't tell me that. Are they coming here to the window?" Yes, sir." "What for?" To see me." "What about?" About nothing." "What about?" Jimmy knew that he could conceal nothing. He said, "They're coming to rescue me." He began to whimper. The doctor sat down heavily. "What? To rescue you?" he gasped. "Yes, sir." The doctor's eyes began to twinkle. "Very well," he said presently. "I will sit here and observe this rescue, and on no account do you warn them that I am here. Understand?" Of course, Jimmy understood. He had been mad to warn his friends, but his father's mere presence had frightened him from doing it. He stood trembling at the window while the doctor stretched in an easy chair near at hand. They waited. The doctor could tell by his son's increasing agitation that the great moment was near. Suddenly he heard Willie Dowsel's voice hiss out a word. Silence. Then the same voice addressed Jimmy at the window. Good cheer, my comrade. This time is now at hand. I have come. Never did the Red Captain turn his back on a friend. 1 minute more and you will be free. Once aboard my gallant craft and you could bid defiance to your haughty enemies. Why don't you hurry up? What are you standing there looking like a cow for? Now you, stammered Jimmy. Here, hold up, Harry. The Terror of the Sierras evidently concluded that Willie Dalzell had had enough of the premier part, so he said, brace up, pard. Don't ye turn white-livered now, for ye know that Hold Up Harry, the Terror of the Sierras, ain't the man to... Oh, stop it, said Willie Dalzell. He won't understand that. You know he's a pirate now. Jimmy, come on, be of light heart, my comrade. Soon you, I low arter all here, long time in jail you had no friends, maybe. I tell you, ye hold Harry, the Terror of Sarahs. A boat is waiting. I have ready a trusty horse. Willie Dalzell could endure his rival no longer. Look here, Henry, you're spoiling the whole thing. We are all pirates, don't you see? And you're a pirate too. I ain't a pirate. I'm Hold Up Harry, the Terror of the Sierras. You ain't, I say, said Willie in despair. You're spoiling everything, you are. All right now, you wait. I'll fix you for this. See if I don't. Oh, come on, Jimmy. Your boat awaits us at the foot of the rocks. In 1 short hour, you'll be free forever from your execrable enemies and their vile plots. Hasten, for the dawn approaches. The suffering Jimmy looked at his father and was surprised at what he saw. The doctor was doubled up like a man with colic. He was breathing heavily. The boy turned again to his friends. I now look here, he began, stumbling among the words. I don't think I'll be rescued today. The pirates were scandalized. What? They whispered. What? Angrily, ain't you going to be rescued? Well, all right for you, Jimmy Trescott. That's a nice way to act, that is. Their upturned eyes glowered at Jimmy. Suddenly, Dr. Trescott appeared at the window with Jimmy. Oh, go home, boys, he gasped. But they did not hear him. Upon the instant, they had whirled and scampered away like deer. The first lad to reach the fence was Red Captain, but Hold Up Harry, the Terror of the Sierras, was so close that there was little to choose between them. Dr. Trescott lowered the window and then spoke to his son in his usual quiet way. Jimmy, I wish you would go and tell Peter to have the buggy ready at 7 o'clock. Yes, sir, said Jimmy, and he swaggered out to the stables. Pete, father wants the buggy ready at 7 o'clock. Peter paid no heed to his order, but with the tender sympathy of a true friend, he inquired, Hurt? What did you hurt? You trouncing? Trouncing? Said Jimmy contemptuously. I didn't get no trouncing. No, said Peter. He gave Jimmy a quick, shrewd glance and saw that he was telling the truth. He began to mutter and mumble over his work. Des ya white folks act like you think the boy made of glass, no trouncing He was consumed with curiosity to learn why Jimmy had not felt a heavy parental hand, but he did not care to lower his dignity by asking questions about it. At last, however, he reached the limits of his endurance, and in a voice pretentiously careless, he asked, Didn't your pop take on la mad about this your carriage lamps? Inquired Jimmy. No, he didn't say anything about carriage lamps, not that I remember. Maybe he did, though. Let me see. No, he never mentioned them. February 1900, Harper Magazine, Volume 100, pp. 366-372.